What is up, guys? Micheal Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, educational health and social well-being. I'm here with the man, the homie, the newly married Micheal Seay. Got him back on the channel officially.
Great to be back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So pretty much, guys, what we want to do with this video is just give you guys an update from the last time we did a Dexa scan together. I'll have that link in the description box down below. This was back from 2019. That was before the weight class changes. So this is when we were 74 kg lifters. And we'll kind of do a few brief overviews of where we were then. But if you guys want to watch the full breakdown of that video where it takes us through the full DEXA scan process, what all they look at, what our numbers were, you get to see that we kind of guess what our body fats were and how close we were, all that kind of stuff. That video will be linked in the description box down below. This one is pretty much more like a follow-up because obviously Micheal and I both just competed at the Lone Star Strength class. And my boy Micheal, won the weight class, won best lifter, as he should, the comeback. I can't be mad at that one. But pretty much we're both at this point walking around close to the same weight, still both 82 and a half, still have more weight to actually fill out this weight class. And mind you, when we say fill out 82 and a half, we don't mean just get to the top of the weight class 181. We're talking sit around 185 at least, where it can be there comfortable, do some slight manipulations to make weight. Obviously don't have to do extreme cutting like we did when we were both getting to 74, 75. But, you guys are going to be able to kind of just see where we're at. You guys know for me, I in 2021 started kind of bulking up to fill out 83. Then they changed the weight classes. So in 2022, I came back down to 75. And it wasn't until I did my last 75 meet June of last year where I recommitted to, properly bulking and trying to fill out this weight class. Nice, slow and steady. So we're pretty much going to go over our numbers as far as where things were and where they're at now in terms of the just the relevant progress. And it's really, really cool because the sheets with the place that we go to, which is Live Lean, if you guys have that in your area, it's really cool because they keep all the data tracked together so we can see what we did in 2019 and we can also see where we're at now in 2024. So, you want to go first to me, brother?
Guess I'll go first. Yeah, so my results, I'll start with my results from 2019. So my total body fat percentage back then was 10.4. Total mass was 171.9. Fat tissue was 17.9 pounds. Lean tissue 146.8. BMC 7.3 pounds. And fat-free body weight is 154.1 pounds. And my results from this most recent one was actually, it's surprising in some ways, not so surprising in other ways, and I'll get into that as we get a little bit deeper into the video, but my total body fat went up to 16.4. My total mass went up to 181 from 171, so quite a bit of additional weight there. Fat tissue went up to 29.7 pounds. Lean tissue went down to 144 pounds, so I lost a little bit of muscle mass. The BMC is still at 7.3, and the fat-free weight is down to 151.2 pounds.
All right, and then as for me, so in 2019, my total body fat percentage was 12.1. My total mass was 169.9 pounds, so I was walking around 169, 170 and cutting to the 74 kg weight class. My fat tissue was 20.6. My lean tissue was 141.5. And my BMC was 7.8, and my fat-free pounds was 149.3. That's 2019. As of 2024, mind you, we both got these the week going into Low Star meet, so this is only from a week ago pretty much. My total body fat has now gone from 12.1 to 15.2%. My total mass went from 169.9 to 179.3. My fat tissue went from 20.6 to 27.2. My lean tissue went from 141.5 to 144.2. My BMC only went up by 0.1 from 7.8 to 7.9, and my fat-free pounds is now from 149.3 to 152.1. So, all in all, in terms of, where things are at relatively, as far as and you guys will see whenever my sheet pops up, you guys will see I also did a DEXA scan in 2021. That was right before I was going to start to fill out the 83 kg weight class. And once again, as I explained in 2022, I went back down to 75. We're really focusing on the difference from 2019 to 2024. And I'm honestly, for me, I'll just start off. I'm very happy where things are at because to have only gone up 3% body fat in pretty much 5 years, but have like the lean mass that's been added to the frame is awesome. This is easily the biggest I've ever been across the board, as far as like, you know, my arms, my legs, my torso, my glutes, everything. Like it's the biggest that I've ever been. But my body composition has stayed relatively well maintained. Obviously my body fat is up. But I'm in a really good spot, like overall in terms of composition. Oh, and that's another thing too for both of us, real quick, before I get into my individual stuff. The other thing too is visceral fat. So visceral fat, so which is like, you know, pretty much going to be that fat is more like around your organs. We both, this is crazy for both of us. Mm-hmm. Our visceral fat went down. So for me in 2019, it was 0.35 in terms of pounds. So 10.26 in volume. And now it's 0.17, so 5.12 in terms of the volume. So that's excellent. Like, even though my body fat has gone up as I expected to as I'm bulking, as far as the body fat, like internally, like around my organs, that's the best it's ever been.
Mine was 0.39 in 2019, and mine went down to 0.23, which that's another thing I'm going to get into a little bit, but that explains why, you know, despite my body fat being a little bit higher than I guess initially, because initially I thought that it would probably be around 13 to 14%, just looking at myself in the mirror. But I mean, it makes sense now, given that I carry a lot of my body fat in, you know, my trunk region and my lower body, but I actually look, you know, pretty good now. I mean, even Marcellus was you know, looking a little bit earlier when we were posing.
I couldn't hate on the game, man. I was like, I don't know, man. Your Dexa scan might be wrong when it said that you lost some muscle mass.
Yeah.
Granted, I believe you said most of your mass loss was a little bit more like in the lower body region, right?
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Like I said, we'll kind of get into why we think the results are what they've been.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, I think for both of us, in terms of like the visceral body fat, like just being lower, I just know for me, even though I'm eating more than what I ever have calorically, the types of foods I'm eating, like it's just a lot better. Like, you know, obviously, you know, being older and, you know, having better source of income as the coaching has grown quite a bit since 2019, obviously, can just afford to eat at home way more now. Really good, high quality foods, home cooked meals. Even if I have like, you know, one meal that I eat out or whatever, most of my food is home cooked. Shout out Amber, love you, baby girl. So I think that's a big part of it. As well as the fact that I'm really on top of things like my micronutrition as well. I should be on top of it back then too, but I'm at this point now where I try to refine every single variable. And then Mike, I believe for you, I mean, because I know you've always kind of had like IBS and gut health issues.
Yeah.
It seems like you've done a lot to kind of get that fixed up recently.
Yeah, that's been, I would say, or if I had to guess, I would say that's the majority of why things have cleaned up more is, I mean, kind of the same thing as Marcellus, taking my diet. Not that I've never taken it seriously, but just emphasizing those little things a little bit more. I've also been, you know, taking a probiotic and just being more proactive with other things, trying to take care of my gut health, because that's something that I've been, you know, kind of dealing with on and off for a good portion of my life. So now that that's significantly better, and, you know, I don't have nearly as many, without getting into too much information, as many issues with my bowel movements and things, that's cleared up quite a bit of inflammation in my stomach. And so I feel like that's definitely why, at least partially why, that visceral tissue has cleared up a little bit for me.
Yeah. And I'll also, like, you know, for both of us, I'll have the stuff like, you know, the android, the gynoid, the AG ratio, the bone mass density. I'll have a lot of that, like, just kind of pop up on screen as we're going. So you guys can just see the comparisons between, like, you know, 2019 and now. But in terms of kind of like goals for me, my goal, it's funny because I actually guessed it. Like I really was telling Michael before I went to guys, I said, yeah, if I had to guess, I'm around like 15% body fat. And it's cool because like a lot of people, when they look at me, like when I'm training working out, they wouldn't necessarily guess that. But as we've explained to you guys all the time, like even if your body fat's in that like 12 to 15% range, which a lot of people are like, oh, that's not very lean compared to 10%, like we're not bodybuilders. And when you're a natural lifter and you put on enough muscle mass, like the way you look as far as relative leanness is huge, which you guys will see as we're talking through. We're gonna have clips of us like popping up from our training session earlier today, as well as like Michael said, some posing, so it's popping up. But for me, I'm really happy where things are at. I don't necessarily want to get past this body fat percentage. I'm very happy being around that 15% mark. I wouldn't mind necessarily being around 16, but for me, I feel like ideally to kind of maximize myself in terms of leverage and stuff, it's going to be like just continue to add muscle mass and trying to kind of recomp around that 15% body range. So if my body fat percentage goes up to maybe like 16%, I'll probably hold myself there, let myself recomp more, and then keep building steadily. So even though my bulk has been a nice and slow one, by the Dexa scan I was 179 pounds. Granted, when you're on the machine, like you are enclosed, so I give or take a pound. By my scale, I'm walking around close to 177, 178. But with that being said, this is the heaviest that I've been consistently, and I'm really, really happy with where muscle mass is at. And that's what's very assuring for me, is the fact that I know that I'm muscularly the biggest I've ever been, and that my potential, my strength is the highest it's ever been. It's just doing the right things to get the strength to show up the way it needs to, which, like I said, Brad and I did that the last 5 weeks going into the meet. And you guys will see after this video, like a full week of training, what my training looks like now. And I'm about to get big, about to get jacked, you know what I'm saying? But Michael, go ahead and kind of for those who don't know, I guess get a little more insight as to why you think your muscle mass went down a little bit, even though you can't necessarily tell visually, kind of just what you've been dealing with the past couple of years, anything like that.
Yeah, so basically, I'm not gonna go into too much detail. I'm gonna save that for future videos that we both have planned. But long story short, I've been dealing with an injury or a series of injuries over the past. Really, it's been bad for the past couple of years, but it's been going on for much longer than that. But the last couple of years after the last time I competed, which was around Raw Nationals in Las Vegas, after that, I had a significant drop off in terms of what I was able to tolerate in terms of workload, and that was on pretty much anything related to my lower body. And so during this whole time, obviously, if you're not able to do enough workload to keep, progressing or to at least not regress, you're going to do what? You're going to regress. So neither of us really thought too much about that, to be honest, before the Dexa scan. But after I got the scan, everything kind of clicked, and I was like, okay, it makes a lot of sense. And what that tells me is that more than likely during that process, I probably lost closer to, I don't really know for sure, but if I had to guess, I would say probably at least 5 or 6 pounds of muscle. And basically over the past, year or however long trying to ramp back up, I've been, gradually regaining some of that muscle. And now I'm up to, 2 pounds less of muscle than where I was at previously. But, the reason why I wasn't too upset about it and why, if anything, it kind of makes things make more sense for me is that just means that, once, as I am able to reintroduce more workload and get things going again, it's not going to take long to get that muscle mass back. And then I should be able to, reach even further than that. And, the fact that I was at 16%, but I still, look the way that I look, that means that, initially I thought maybe once I got around that 16 to 17% mark that I probably wouldn't, like the way that I look in the mirror quite as much.
Yeah.
But, still looking this good, that just means that I'll probably be able to push things a little bit more moving forward than I thought. So pretty much the game plan for me, it's kind of sort of similar to Marcellus, but, obviously some differences with me, coming back from the injury and things. I'm planning on probably sticking around where I'm at currently, like that 180 to 181 range, and just gradually recomping from here over the next year or two. And then from there, just very slowly getting into that 185 plus range. Realistically, I don't know if I'll be able to necessarily sit any heavier than like 190 while still, looking good, looking like I want to look. But, over the next 2 or 3 years, I definitely think that I can hit that 185-ish range within the same body fat percentage range.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it makes sense too, because it's like, I definitely agree with you that I feel like you probably did lose more muscle mass than that in total. Because I remember a point in time, like when we were still dealing with the injury, you weren't able to really do anything, that you, at that point, again, you could see you were physically smaller. But at this point, you're a lot bigger now, physically, pause. Then your muscle mass is more prominent than what it was.
Yeah.
Than what it was say like a year or so ago. And obviously now that you're the healthiest you've been, able to train pain free, you're gonna be able to come in and really build back to where you need to be, which is really kind of exciting, because it's like, if you're this strong, almost back to your old strength with less muscle, then like where are you gonna be with more muscle? And that's also why you guys are gonna see us training at AR a lot more, at least throughout the weekdays, just because it's like just the different machines we have access to, the accessory equipment. I know for me specifically, Brad has certain days assigned at that gym based upon what he wants me to do. But yeah, I'm honestly really, really excited like for both of us. And I agree. I think for me, long term, this is super long term. This is like, we know I put on weight very steadily, but I definitely feel like 190 is about the heaviest that I'll probably ever be comfortably. I don't think I'd have any reason to want to be heavier than that, especially if like I plan on 82 and a half or 83 kg kind of like being like my weight class, then there's no need to get much heavier than that. Plus, I don't really want to get to a point where I'm having to do super extreme cuts again. Obviously, it's going to feel way better at that weight than what it is cutting from like a super lean, 11, 12%, 170 pounds and cutting down, right? But yeah, and that's the thing too. I also feel the fact that I kind of built up a little bit in 2021 and cut back down again. I think that was actually kind of good for me in terms of like the visceral fat and just give me a better baseline. So I'm excited, especially because now at this point, like eating, getting my food and calories in is super easy. It's super consistent. And I plan on showing you guys a lot more of that type of stuff with my training in terms of just like, showing you more of the accessory work, tracking the progression with the new things I'm doing, kind of like more of the old stuff that we used to do. Now that I'm going to have like a nice long off season until I compete again until probably late December. And of course, Michael will be competing again at Nationals.
Yeah, Nationals.
So, he doesn't have quite as much time. But the thing is, at this point, with being the healthiest he's been, it's kind of like he can only go up from here with where he's at. And I think it makes sense too. Like I said, most of your muscle loss was in your lower body. Because obviously, you're able to push the bench and push different upper body movements and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm just hyped. Like, because it's like it's. I think we could both agree, like, obviously we're powerlifters, we love competing, but at the end of the day, before we got into powerlifting, we just like training and just being big and jacked. So
big and strong and just seeing that progression. And I mean, we both, I'm pretty sure you still feel the same way. We both, said at certain points that eventually we both want to do a bodybuilding show.
Yeah. It'd be cool, man. Like it's such a conflict for me because I still have my things of like, man, I'm about to get on stage for a bunch of men to judge me and tell me that this dude looked better than me. Yeah, but at the same time, just the process of doing it at least once, I think it'd be really fun. Like if me, Michael, our boy Sean Noriega, Johnny Kennedy, if we all did one together, I think that'd be a lot of fun. That's something we've talked about potentially. Later down the line, we're kind of like feeling we don't want to do a powerlifting. But yeah, I just think I like doing stuff like this because it's cool to see objective progression. It's easy to look in the mirror and be like, oh, I think I look bigger, I think I look leaner, but it's cool to be able to look at these numbers and be like, oh yeah, no, I have in fact put on, 2, 3, 4, however much pounds of muscle over this time. And like I said, I think it just goes to show you guys, if you guys go and look at that 2019 video, even though we're like leaner, we're clearly like, more muscular now than what we were then, or relatively. And even Michael, with him looking like he has less muscle, still looks great, which just shows that just putting on weight in general is huge, especially as a natural lifter. And that's kind of like the takeaway point with this, right, is that we are in different scenarios where he was in with injury, I was able to train healthily, we're both the heaviest we've ever been, but even with his Dexa showing he lost a little bit of muscle and I've gained muscle, in terms of how we look, I think that just goes to show like just, hey, if you want to look, if you want to look bigger as a natural lifter, you got to put on weight. You can't be afraid to eat. You don't have to like, do a crazy dirty bulk where you put on like 20 pounds in a year, anything like that. But just being intentional and consistent with that, I think is huge.
Yeah, most definitely. And just with this whole process, I'm definitely in agreement. I'm definitely looking forward to. I mean, it's basically for me, it's been. I've pretty much looked at it as like an opportunity to start over again and to see like those new beginnings come again. Because I mean, even with just like the way that my clothes fit, like just gradually feeling my clothes fit tighter and things like that, just looking at the way that I look in the mirror over time versus a year and a half ago, whatever. Because I could see visually how much I had atrophied, especially in my legs, and seeing my legs actually come out now and be striated again and things like that. Those things give me more to continue to look forward to with this whole process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, you guys be on the lookout. The boy Mike's finally returning to YouTube, and I know he's going to be doing a video where he's going to kind of break down like his whole process over the past couple of years, the things we've done together, as coach and client, the things he's done individually, his mindset, just everything that he's done to get to the point of coming back and having the meet that he did at the Lone Star Classic. So you guys definitely be on the lookout for that. Definitely be on the lookout for my future videos as far as showing you like a full week of training, what all I'm doing, and what my plans are for like future competitions. But that's pretty much it, man. That's all I got to say. You got anything else to add or just tell the people, Mike?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Like Marcelo said, and like I mentioned earlier, I'll be coming with a little video, just kind of going through the journey from like a more personal lens, just kind of talking about my experience with the injury and the things that have kept me motivated with training and through this whole process, and then my goals moving forward as far as competing, and then we might have a little something else that we'll be cooking up.
No, I know I'm looking forward to that. I hope you guys are as well. Like obviously biased, right? Because this is my friends, my clients, my brother. But I think it's going to be one of the best videos out there in terms of like what perseverance really means, man. Because to be at the level of strength and competition that Micheal was at, and then deal with not just an injury, but injury that really no one's ever really dealt with, and have to try and figure out different things and everything we have to do to get him back to this point, like it's easy to just quit and be done, especially when everything else in your life is actually going reasonably well. But my boy did not quit. Let me not get emotional. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that. Or rather, let him say that for his video and then the future things we're gonna be doing. But with that being said, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, comment down below. Let me know what you did. If not, comment down below. Let me know what can be better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch you. Join me, my brother. We'll catch you later.